And welcome. We are excited that you have taken time out of your day to learn about a great offering, our Master of Science in Business Analytics. My name is Lucy Pagan, and I am the Director of Admissions for Northwood University's DeVos Graduate School of Management. My staff and I are dedicated to guiding you throughout the admissions process. Our agenda for today is as follows: an overview of Northwood University and DeVos Graduate School, business analytics, the what and the why. We'll dive into this program, its overview and highlights. We'll hear from expert faculty. We'll also share briefly our other program offerings in case you are interested, the admissions process, and we'll also have questions and wrap up. If you do have any questions throughout the session, please type them in the right-hand side of the screen at the Q&A, where we will be able to answer those during and after the presentation. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Todd Thomas, Associate Academic Dean and Professor here at DeVos. Dr. Thomas's professional career began with 5 years as Manager of Organizational Development and Training at Rockwell Avionics in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. From there, he joined Mercedes-Benz Credit Corporation, where he was a team leader in organizational and executive development. With the Daimler-Chrysler merger, he became Senior Manager of Organizational and Executive Development, where he had offices in Michigan and Berlin, Germany, as well as supervised an international team located in 5 countries. In his role, he was personally responsible for C-suite executive development, as well as internal coaching and company-wide succession planning. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you very much.
Todd, can you switch the view on the PowerPoint really quick?
Please? I can. Thank you for the reminder. So yes, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us. I want to spend a few minutes giving you some overview of our business analytics program, and then I would like to introduce you to some of our talent who are the leaders of the classroom, our professors and instructors, and have a conversation with them about some of their perspectives, and then we'll go back and let Lucy give you some of the details. And one of the things to keep in mind about our business analytics program is that it is in the context of what Northwood University does and what we stand for. So the mission of the university is to develop the future leaders of a global free enterprise society. And one of the things that we discovered in our research and in being aware of what is out there is that business analytics is a really important area of development and discipline to help those who intend to be leaders, managers, and entrepreneurs. So what is business analytics? It is the process of using quantitative methods, so approaches to data in order to help make important decisions. There are 3 sort of primary types of business analysis that we get into in our program: descriptive and graphical, which I'll talk about in a minute, predictive, and prescriptive. And Harvard University outlines the primary benefits of a business analytics degree as having more informed data decisions, improved financial performance, and improved operational efficiency and productivity. And this has been the case and grows even more as analytics begins to take a more important role in organizations across industries and across disciplines. In fact, and I won't read each of these here, except that a large number of firms have predicted that their investment in business analytics is going to accelerate, not just in the next 3 years, but beyond that, as new discoveries and new approaches are developed. And in fact, today, there's a title that did not exist up until very recently, actually, and that is over half of the firms that were surveyed have a chief data officer. And that person helps decide and facilitate making data available, as well as working with the analytics of that data to help the company. Over half have also said that they're leveraging business analytics directly into their operation. So this means that analytics are helping in marketing, but they're also helping in finance, and in many ways they're helping in manufacturing decisions, strategic decisions, and all of these technologies, especially things like cloud computing, big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all of these will have big impacts on not just business analytics, but on the companies that use business analytics from now to going forward. So our approach to a Master of Science in Business Analytics is, first of all, in alignment with the way that we approach all of our graduate programs, which is a focus on developing a curriculum that applies what you're learning directly to real-world solving problem. Real-world problem solving. What that means is that you will have opportunities throughout the program to use your own data. If you have it, you'll be able to practice some of the techniques that you learn on industries that are similar to yours and cases, so that it's not just a theoretical learning exercise. In our research, one of the things that we discovered is that companies are not just looking for people who can do analytics, but they're looking for people who can translate those analytics into a story that then becomes understandable by the rest of the company. And so in this program, you'll see in a moment when we go through, there is this focus on being able not just to create the analytics and understand them, but also to be able to translate them into something that's usable. We use current common languages like Python. We use SAS, Bitbucket, GitHub. All of these are various ways of doing analytics, various tools that are related to it. And because we have people in professor roles that are very involved in the industry of analytics, then we also stay on top of what type of analytics tools and approaches that you need. Now, one of the other things that is important for the DeVos Graduate School is that all of our programs incorporate this element of leadership and management. So we focus this program on the student, and we try to make sure that when you come out of here, not only have you learned some of these tools or learned how to better manipulate data, but you've also learned a little bit more about how to lead and manage in a very analytics database world. So here is our curriculum. Again, I won't go into huge depth, but at the bottom there are two foundational courses, which are Introduction to Data Analytics, which gives you an overview of the field of data analytics, and then Programming and Computation, which gives you also the basis for being able to do the analytics going forward. We have an early course in Forecasting and Predictive Analytics, because those are very popular and important. We have a course that allows you to use artificial intelligence approaches to problem solving, as well as determining how to manage the data that's in front of you, how to organize it, and quite importantly, how to create visualizations of that data, so again, you can communicate it effectively to the organization. As machine learning becomes more of what we do, we'll have a course in solving business problems with the approach of machine learning. And then finally, relational database management, which again is a way for us to use the data in a very effective and efficient kind of manner. And then finally, there is a directed capstone. And the capstone is something that you will define as a student in terms of a project or an approach that you would like to try. You'll agree on that with a faculty advisor. And so the capstone is an opportunity for you to pull everything together throughout that you've learned throughout the program, but then apply it directly to something that is meaningful to you. A few facts. The program is a 24-month program. There are 10 courses, and I realize that because of a rearrangement of slides, I've jumped into a later slide here, so I'll finish this one. The MSBA is offered online, and we have program starts in the fall, the spring, and summer semesters. So in a little bit, Lucy, who you met at the beginning, will come back and tell you a little bit more about that. What I would like to do now is to introduce, and I can't really, let me ask our tech, or the people who make this work. There we go. So I want to introduce Dr. Utama. Dr. Utama is one of our assistant professors, one of our analytics experts that teach in our program. He has a great understanding of some of the areas that we talked about, including artificial intelligence and web-based tools and robotics and all of the things that you might be interested in as you go through the program. Professors sometimes have a different view. They know what students are asking, what students are interested in. And I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking to Dr. Utama about some of the questions that we often receive from students and some of the things that seem to be quite important. So I want to start, Utama, with the question of why is right now a good time for me to be considering a graduate degree in business analytics? Is there anything going on at this moment that would make it seem that this is a really good time to go in that direction?
That's a great question, Todd. You know, we are living in the age of AI, and most processes today are automated. Every business organization that wants to survive in this digital age should have a department that is specialized in business analytics. Knowing how to communicate the right insights from data is important. Note, I said the right insights. That is one of the skills that students benefit from the program. More so, we help educate learners on how to identify problems in any business context and formulate measurable business questions. These are important steps before peeking into the data or using any data analytical tool or software. It is also essential to know how to identify performance gaps and opportunity gaps to drive any business successfully. We help guide students on how to build the skills of making data-informed business decisions.
Okay, so with that as sort of the foundation, one of the things that students notice very often is there's an early course in programming and computation. And one of the concerns that comes up is, you know what, I'm not a software engineer, I'm not a software programmer. Is it going to be possible for me to be successful in an analytics program if I don't have coding or programming in my background?
That's also a great question. Now, I would always say that no programming experience is needed. However, now in my course on applied data analytics, the curriculum is designed in such a way that we follow what I call a declarative approach. For example, we focus on what job is to be done rather than on how the job is to be done. So this takes learners to a higher level of thinking. You get to know how to stitch each program snippet to tackle a process. Knowing what is to be done and how to tweak the snippets to achieve your goal makes the whole experience fun and engaging.
So I'm going to, in your class as well as some of the others, the focus is going to be on the problem that we're trying to solve, not necessarily making me a broad programmer. I'm going to learn what I need to learn in order to address the problem that we're talking about. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. So you're not just a technician, that's how I put it, but you are a driver. You're not just here to fix the vehicle, but to know how to put the vehicles together.
So if I don't need to have been a programmer, what if I'm also not a former math major? I mean, analytics sounds a lot like, I mean, when you say analytics, I think that, wow, that sounds like math. Is that something that's going to be a problem for me, or will I still be able to figure this out?
That's a great question, which I also experience when I teach a class on statistics, because the general notion is that statistics is math. And I say, no, the statistics is a science. And it's the science of knowing how to communicate insight from data, how to communicate insight from data. Now, that involves understanding what are you trying to address. Now, the big question is, what is data? And in this course, we help them understand how to define data, how to describe data, and take you a bit away from the whole programming, the whole notion that programming is difficult. By the way, there are so many tool sets or functions that we can use to drive our solutions. And so the big picture is, when you know what you're trying to solve, then you know how to use those snippets or process blocks to put them together to achieve your goal. And at the long run, take for example, if you're learning you're using SAS. Now, in using SAS, using those code snippets in time, because you get to run the codes, you get to really familiarize yourself with the codes in time. So naturally, I have experienced that midway during the course, students start to get to that moment where they say, wow, I can actually implement these codes myself. But in the very beginning, that's not the goal.
And that makes a lot of sense. And in our programs, sometimes students are very committed, and they expect from the beginning that they should know things that they have not yet been taught. So that's really helpful to think of it in terms of snippets, in terms of putting it together and being problem focused. I want to ask one last question just for a minute or so. And I know we just finished some classes. People are in classes right now, and you've had experience teaching analytics for a while. What, if I can ask this question correctly, in your experience, what is it in an analytics approach that really excites a student? So maybe I'm a little concerned and I'm not quite sure if I can do this, but there comes a point where I get, excited about what the potential is. Is that an experience that you see, and is there a place that happens often?
Yeah, that's a great question to really consider, because I see students first start the program with the apprehension that what they would be learning is complicated. With active participation, of course, I stress active participation, there is that aha moment when they see how analytics can be driven and get more excited to take charge of their learning. Because our goal here is to help students become leaders of the free enterprise, which means they need to understand how to take charge of their learning experience. So students become more engaged, and as concepts become much clearer, and they are able to apply their learning in practical ways in their organizations. So this is really what I have experienced.
That's great. And I think that for many of our students, that realization that our approach is not particularly academic, that it is about being able to use what they're learning in their business is a very important one. And I can only imagine that point where you realize you can do something with this data and create knowledge that you didn't already have. That has to be an exciting part of it. So thank you. I know that you and I can talk about analytics for hours, but we don't have hours. So I'm going to turn this over now. I'm going to turn this back to Lucy. And Lucy, you can tell me if you're going to talk about the slide I talked about or move on from there. But thank you again very much, Dr. Utama.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you again soon. So,
Yep, Todd, if you can go back to the slide that you had, that'd be perfect.
I'm trying to do that. Let's see if I'm successful. I think I might be. I think I am now. Is that right?
There you go. Yep, perfect. So again, thank you, Dr. Utama and Dr. Thomas, for those wonderful insights on this relevant program. Some key things about this MSBA, as we call it, our Master of Science in Business Analytics, is that it is 24 months. That's the typical layout of this program. However, we do understand that life happens, and if you need to at any point stop throughout the program, you would work with your academic advisor to create a plan of completion for yourself. As long as you're able to complete it within a 5-year time frame, that's really the max amount of time that you can spend on this program, but that would allow you to complete it. Sometimes individuals have tuition benefits from their employer and that they might want to take advantage of, so that might push it out to beyond the 24-month format. Typically, those classes, we have 30 credit hours, so it's a total of 10 courses. One thing that I did want to highlight is that this MSBA program is a little bit unique from our other ones in the sense that you have the option to take 2 electives. So 2 out of the 10 courses can come from any of our other program offerings, which I will share with you later. What is nice about that is that you could do a little bit of focus in finance or leadership or any of maybe our process improvement course from our MBA program. So the rest of the 8 courses are 7 of those, which are the core MSBA courses, and then that 8th one being your capstone project. It is offered online at this time, so at the comfort of your home or wherever you are, you can do this program. As I mentioned, while it's laid out to be 24 months, the courses are 8 weeks in length. So typically, let's just say that you're looking to start this fall, you would start with 1 class in 8 weeks. After that class, another class for 8 weeks. So when we have our fall semester, it's 2 courses total. Spring would be another 2 courses. And then you would have your summer semester would be 1 course. And then you would be able to repeat that for the second year of the program with the remaining 5 courses of the program. As we have there mentioned, we have program starts this fall, spring, and summer. Our fall start is August 23rd. We will also have, after the first 8 weeks, a second start, which would be mid-October, and then again come January 10th, and then mid-March, and then May is our summer semester start. I'll have Todd go to the next slide. Thank you. Our educational investment, everybody wants to know what is the cost. It is $825 a credit hour. So roughly, you're going to look at a little bit under $25,000. Now that is tuition only with our MS programs. That does not include any materials that you might need for the class. So roughly about that $25,000 mark. Now this is the 22 MSBA tuition. That's always subject to increase in the second year of the program, but your graduate program advisor would let you know if there is any changes of that. Again, if you have the benefits of an employer that's helping you out with this, or there is also the opportunity to apply for federal aid for graduate programs. The next slide. And the admissions process is as follows. So we are looking now to our fall start. We are still currently accepting applications for August 23rd. So we would like to receive, at the latest if possible, your portfolio for this program, which would be August 1st. What it entails is completing an online application at apply.northwood.edu. You would also want to submit your current resume or CV. Provide all official transcripts for undergraduate coursework. So we do calculate on a cumulative GPA. If you've done any transfer credits, anything that would be towards your bachelor's degree, we would need the official transcripts from those universities, those institutions. Additionally, this program is the criteria for the program is a 3.0 GPA. If for any reason you are below that, it does not necessarily mean that you would not be admitted into the program. It just means that we may ask for some additional supplemental items from you. One being a writing sample. That's something that we would send to you. It's a small business essay. Potentially, we could also ask for letters of recommendation or a personal statement. But your admissions representative would let you know what is needed. And then also a graduate interview with the admissions representative, understanding why it is that you want to do the program, what's been your professional and educational experiences, and what skills you're looking to get out of the program as well. And the next slide. And then, as I mentioned, some of the other offerings that we have. So again, you're able to take 2 electives from any of our other master level courses. So we do offer the MBA program. It's our broad business acumen, the Master of Science in Organizational Leadership, as well as the Master of Science in Finance. Our doctorate is one that's been new on board with us since last fall. So after you've done potentially one of our master level degrees, you can also seek a doctorate of business and administration. As I mentioned, we have flexible class formats, being that we are offering these every 8 weeks and they're online. With our MBA program, we do have some options for face-to-face and online courses. The capstone projects, those are across the board with all of our programs. And then we also have a dedicated graduate advisor that's going to assist you from the moment that you're accepted into the program until the day that you're walking across the stage at graduation. We do have scholarship availability still for our MS program. So that is based on your GPA, and that we can, if you're still interested in learning what you may qualify for, we're happy to give you that information. For all of our programs, we do not require the GMAT and GRE, as kind of Utama and Professor Thomas alluded to. This is more hands-on, problem-based. It's not very test-heavy, exam-driven, so we don't require that GMAT or GRE assessments. And then lastly, the start for this August is the 23rd. That is a Monday, but being that it is an online program, it's not necessarily face-to-face. I think that's one of the questions maybe somebody might have, like, do I have to sit in front of the seat, at 6 p.m. on a given day and do this virtually online? No, not necessarily. And Todd, if you want to talk a little bit more about, sometimes we have synchronous and asynchronous sessions. If you want to talk a little bit about what that might look like, that would be helpful.
So within the degree program, most of the classes, if not all of them, will offer a synchronous session each week. And that ends up being a work session. Typically, they may add some information that's helpful, but across the board, those sessions tend to not be synchronous. Tend to not be required, but they are typically recorded. We recommend that students attend those sessions because it'll be live with the professor and you can ask your specific questions and actually get to know your cohort and really add to the experience. But our program is not designed so that, for example, every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, there's a lecture. We understand that you're out there working and that you are trying to balance these things together. So those kinds of sessions are offered as opportunities, but typically are not required within the class.
Perfect, thank you. And just a reminder, if you have any questions, I know we're almost to the end of the session here, but one question we did have was, in terms of career tracks, what kind of career would be ideal to pair with this degree? Not sure if Todd or...
Yeah, Dr. Utama, are you still on here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So one of the questions, yeah, did you get the question?
Yeah, so in terms of career tracks, what kind of career would be ideal to pair with the degree? Okay. Now, I would say that that's a broad question, which means that there are so many career tracks that can be career path that can be paired with a degree, because almost every field today requires the use of data, and as such, every field it's vital that every field really have the understanding of how to communicate insights from data, from being a professor, from teaching to working in the corporate world or anywhere, any sector around requires the real understanding of data, because we are trying to ensure that we communicate the right insight. We are trying to ensure that business procedures are successful. And so in my view, it doesn't really matter, because even if you're a farmer, you still need to see how you can automate the processes as a farmer owner. So that's my view, that every field requires an understanding of business analytics today.
And I will just add very quickly as support for that. In our doctoral program, we offer, for example, human resource analytics, but we also have marketing analytics and finance. You know, to Dr. Utama's point, I think today, especially, having that sort of credential could be the part that sets you apart from all of the other candidates when you're looking at the career path that you're choosing.
Perfect, thank you again. I don't think we have any other questions, but again, I would like to thank Dr. Tama, Dr. Thomas, for your time today, giving us information on this program. As I mentioned, we are still accepting applications for this fall and in future terms. Thank you again for your time. If you do have any questions, my contact information was on the back page, but if you want to email DeVos, DEVOS, @northwood.edu, my staff and I will be glad to assist you with any questions that you might have. And then this session will be recorded. If you would like a copy of that, we will send that to you as well. Thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.